Hi, John here. In this video I will show you how to create best converting lookalikes for e-commerce store. All these lookalikes I will create through my ad account I am using for my own ad sets and for my own campaigns. Everything what you will see here is basically everywhere around all my business managers, all my stores and all my ad accounts. I'm pretty sure that if you will take these lookalike audiences, it will definitely work for you as well. For some people, it's probably a little bit more difficult to create every lookalike audience because some lookalike audiences are based on data from your email list. But well, actually, there are tons of different lookalike audiences that it's easy to actually get them. Just by spending couple dollars, you can build your audience. But sometimes people kind of forget about these different types of lookalikes and just focus on those main ones like add to carts, purchases. So I will show you how to create these lookalikes even when you don't have any and you just need to use lookalike audiences from the beginning, because you don't have time, to wait for 1000 add to carts or 1000 purchases. Definitely do not forget to join Ad Federation. It's my free Facebook mastermind group. It just started, it's just me and a couple high-level spending marketers. So if you will join now, you will be part of very small closed group of people who spend tons of money on Facebook, and you will also have direct connection with me. So join that group now. If you recently got flagged or well, you might get flagged in the future, definitely download my free ebook that I wrote. It's called The Ultimate Facebook Ad Ban Survival Guide. And basically I will show you how to kind of not get flagged. I will also show you how to recognize triggers, that might get flag you. And if you got flagged or you got that kind of huge ban, that even they flagged your domain, I will also show you how to get out of this Facebook circle of hell and how to restart your promotion and kind of keep it clean, and so you can again focus on advertising and don't need to always look behind your shoulder if Facebook is not hitting you to the head. So definitely download that ebook as well now. Lookalike audiences are great. Well, lookalike audiences will save you tons of money, and tons of pain that you will probably feel. Because if you don't have lookalikes, you are basically just running broad audiences, right? I don't think it's kind of a problem to run with only broad audiences. If you already have pixel that is seasoned, you already have there tons of different purchases or events, views, everything, then Facebook kind of knows what kind of people hit with your ads. But if everything is completely new and you don't have anything, then lookalike audiences that you can, for example, create from database that you already have from email list will save you, and it doesn't even matter if that email list that you will use for the lookalike audiences is from completely different niche, from completely different business, even if it's from completely different store, and it has nothing to do with your products. If his list full of buyers, it will work for any business because Facebook recognize, what users in their database are buyers, and basically if you will give him a list with buyers, they will find you another buyers. You can kind of skip that fact that you don't have any data, because that buyer list that you will use for those lookalike audiences will kind of help you to start your business very fast, and you will be basically getting conversions a lot faster in person without any list or lookalike audiences. You have a lot of different types of lookalikes, and so for example, if you already have tons of data in your pixel, you can kind of create a lot of different versions that will help you with your normal acquisition, because you can literally just use different percentage of lookalikes without any interests, and you will see how it all works with your product, because sometimes you don't even need to use any interest targeting. It's even okay if you'll be just using 1% add to carts, 2% add to carts, 3% add to carts, and you will always put that one single percentage to one ad set, and then you will have 10 ad sets, each of them with 1%, and just that will work perfectly, So let me just show you on screen what kind of lookalike audiences I created and I'm using for my business, how I combine them with interest, for example, and how it all works for me, so you can also use it for your business. Okay, let me start first from all these audiences that you can create, right? So let's first talk about add to cart audiences. Basically, you will create like those custom audiences from add to carts for like 180 days, 60 days, 30 days, 14 days. Then you will create lookalike audiences from that add to cart. So here's example. For example, what I created from 180 days lookalike audience, right? So you will create like one lookalike audience for that 1%, and you will then create lookalike audience for each percent, till 10%. Just this, will basically like let you to create 10 ad sets and put to each ad set like 1%, and that's what I'm like doing all the time. I have like so many lookalike audiences which are like much better than broad audiences with like normal interests, so I can just like keep adding different percentage of these lookalike audiences to my ad sets, and they are just like always like fresh, always like working, because these audiences are always like updated, they are always like growing and changing. If some of these audiences work for you, I mean, like for example those add to carts, like any percentage, you can just keep like running it and it will always like change. So I usually have like great experience with using like 1%, because 1% add to cart, or 1% like purchases or 1% views, it's like always great audience, and it always like work great, When your pixel, for example, is already like tested, seasoned, and it has like tons of data, you can even like have ads with 10% look like audience in them, and it looks like it's a big group of people, but it actually is not, it's like 10% of people who are like most similar to people who put that product to add to cart. So it's kind of like great, Another like great audience is views audience, if you are using for your ads video ads, which is like probably like you should, because videos are working like great now. I think for me personally, videos are working like a lot better than any image ads. Views are very special for me because every time when I have enough views, which is like very easy because to get like 1000 views is not so difficult, I create specific campaign, and I create in that campaign like ad set for each custom audience of views, not lookalike audience, but that the main custom audience. This is probably like only place where I kind of like use those bigger ad sets, right? So I'm used to with like normal acquisition to use $50 or $20 ad sets and hundreds of them, but with this campaign with views, I always start with like $200 per ad set, and then because these views, it's kind of like it's something between that normal acquisition campaign and retargeting campaign with those views. And then I'm retargeting basically with this, it's not even retargeting, those people who viewed that percentage of that video, and these views are great because you have so many of them that you can keep pushing budget and it will just not fall down. So basically like I start with like $200 first day per one view ad set, and then I add like another like next day is like 500, then 1000, 2000, $3000 per day, and you can like scale these views. And it's great because this is like very stable campaign. It's not literally retargeting for me, and it's not like normal acquisition campaign for me. It's something like the middle, but it's place where you can spend tons of money, but with little risk. So that's why I like these views, And then you can use these views as well as like lookalike audience. Like I said, like you will create that 10% set for each of these custom audiences for views, and then you will combine them with your interests in normal acquisition campaign, or you will just like use them only these lookalike audiences, and you will not even combine them, because same, it's like add to carts for me. For example, those 95 and 75% views works like really great. I have like not so great experience with 50 and 25 and less, but those 95 and 75, they work great, So I know that I can even have like the 10% lookalike from 95% view, and it just works great, So that's another like set of tons of different ad sets that you can test with views, and all of that is like safe bet, when you are like trying to launch something and not lose money, because like who like to lose money, So you can actually create tons of these ad sets and then use those automated rules that I actually record video before, and you can test all these with that. Let's move to purchases now. Here, I definitely suggest to create like two audiences for purchases, two custom audiences. One for 180 days, which is like obvious because you want to have that biggest, possible audience, as you can get, and 7-day audience, because for me these are like both like great. I mean, I always usually use lookalikes only from that 180 days, but those 7 days are great because sometimes I don't want to hit people who already like, for example, purchased from me, and I don't want to hit them with like same ad, after like 7 days. These two audiences are great because basically it's like little like purely people who purchase from you. So you can create lookalike audiences from 180 days or 7 days, and again, if you will create like those like 10%, from this, it's almost like, it's probably like one of the safest audiences, lookalike audiences that you can get, right? Because like, what's better than people who are like 1% or 2%, like people who actually made a purchase with your store? What people actually like ignore a lot is initiate checkout custom audience. For this, you need to have a little bit like more data, because you need to have almost same data like with purchases, but like not so much. It's somewhere like I said, between add to carts and purchases. It's basically full of these people who already went to checkout but then abandoned it. So it's kind of like also great, because you can use like, for example, for these audiences, like a lot of different like retargeting creatives, you can really like play with it. But if you will create lookalike audience from that, it's also like awesome, because you will have like tons of people who almost like purchase from you and all very well like typing their credit card numbers, so it's like very close to like the best person. So if you will create lookalike audience from that, those first 10% of those lookalike audiences will like work great as well. You have another audience, website clicks. This audience is not so accurate, and I don't actually use website clicks audiences much, or those lookalike audiences. There are people who probably like purchased, but most of these people who are in this audience are like clickers, right? So most of them probably didn't even put anything to cart. They didn't even like forget to finish their checkout. Most of these are clickers. So I don't care that much about website clicks at all. I mean, I use that custom audience just to exclude these people from promotion, so I don't have like overlap in retargeting. But I usually don't use like any website click lookalike audience for my campaigns. I just don't see any reason for it. And then you have obviously custom audience from your database, right? That's probably like the best possible. No, it's not best possible source. It's I think it's easiest source, because well, it's a lot easier to get like some database and put it to Facebook. I mean, I don't use like other people's database, but because I have like so much data that I don't need to. But if you don't have like any, just like you just get some database, right? But yeah, it's like an easiest start, right? So every time when I start new ad account or new business manager, this is like the easiest way how you can actually like profitably start your promotion, because you will have those data from day one, right? Create like lookalike audiences from it and it will work great. Also create audience based on lifetime value of your customer, right? So you can basically tell also Facebook how much the person spent money. So Facebook will check the database, see that value, and try to also like focus on people who spend like most money, which is great. But I also don't see like much difference, I just see that it's working great with that normal audience without that lifetime value. And yeah, so for me, that normal audience works like great. Okay, now I'll show you how to create those lookalike audiences. When you want to follow, for example, for one specific product, one specific event, right? So you have like product one, and you want to know how many add to carts it has, So I will show you how to do it. And this thing works same for like all platforms. For example, my stores are running on Commerce HQ platform, but I also have like one store with Shopify and it works same. And here you need to click on purchase, for example. You will put here 180 days. and here you need to put refine by and click on our parameter, and here you will click on content IDs. And basically here you are already in that part where you need to get content, you need to get ID of your product from your website. So for example, I usually see that ID here at the top, so I know that this is, for example, 102, In Shopify you need to go to your products, and at the top of your like search box, basically you have that ID. So you need to take that ID and then put it basically here. Here you will put some name, like product some process 180 days, and then you will click on create audience, and in like 20 minutes basically the audience will be ready and you can use lookalikes from it. I will just use this custom audience. You will just click on this, create lookalike, and here basically you need to always like pick that percentage, and you will just every time click on percentage, click on create audience, you will create the first percentage, then you will do it again, just like click on second 2% and create audience, and like this you will basically create like all these percentages, so then you can use them in your ads. And then you need to go to our ad set settings, and here you have custom audiences. You will put your audience here. You can even exclude some audience, if you will click on it. And you can also like add some other interest targeting, like some like automobiles or something, so you can like make that audience a little bit like smaller, and basically that's it. This way you will create like a lot of these lookalike audiences, and then you can combine them with different interests, or you just can throw them in your ad sets, separately without any interests. Important is that this will like make your targeting like a lot more accurate, but you will still be able to target these like bigger audiences, but Facebook will pick just those that are like most close to you. And it's very important, because sometimes you will not be able to like sell products, without like that real like accurate targeting. Sometimes you can just go, throw there some like broad audience, 100 million people in it, and Facebook will work correctly, but I see for some products that I have, they are a little bit like more complicated to sell. I just always need to do like some little bit like more laser focused targeting, hitting all these like people with like that specific interest in them. So definitely join Ad Federation and download my ebook, so you can get out of that Facebook circle of hell finally. And check my last two videos, one about automated rules and one about scaling, because basically I use all these like lookalikes in those scaling videos, and I optimize everything with those automated rules. It's kind of like about the whole structure that I'm using. So definitely check them. And I will look forward to see you in my next video. Bye.